Ikaro. That's greetings. Good morning in the Yoruba language.
Ekaro.
I am Sister Alake, and this is Brother Akile, and many others on our virtual event for Black August, LA. This is our sunrise ceremony, which we do every year in commemoration of those who resisted in the prison population, who were in prison, political prisoners. So we're going to start as we do always with a libation, which will be brought to us by Brother Akile.
Omi Tutu. Ana Tutu. Ile Tutu. Tutu Leroyer. I saluted the four cardinal points. I saluted by bringing and pouring omi or water. Now, I take cayenne pepper. I take honey, oyin. I take coconut. I take palm oil. These elements, excuse me, and I take lemon. The elements, these are the same elements that it takes to bring in life that are done at a naming ceremony to open up this great and honorable day in remembering our soldiers who resisted oppression. Black August, which commemorates their efforts, their actions, their commitment to be free. We remember those soldiers.
Ashe.
We remember them. We remember the works that they've done.
Ashe.
We remember the sacrifice of Jonathan Jackson.
Ashe.
Remember the sacrifice of George Jackson. Remember
Ashe.
the sacrifice of Brother Christmas. I mean, yeah, that was his name, right?
William Christmas.
We remember all of those who have thrown down, put their lives on the line, that we will be free today. What's happening, Jitu?
How you doing, my brother?
Ashe. We remember the times, the pain, the suffering, and we know because none of us would have expected to see what we're seeing today on the streets of LA, of Chicago, of New York, or wherever it is that we've been resisting. Here, this year, we never would have expected that. We know that this is a sign that what them brothers did on August 7th, 1970, that was a flame, that was an ember that has grown into what they say a prairie fire. Yes, it has. We are moving forward. We have claimed the day and we've opened the way. We are moving forward. And I don't mean this to be bombastic, but we're moving forward into a new day. We are remembering those who came before us in the pain and suffering that they went through, that we might be here right now, today, doing what we're doing, bringing in the sun of Black August. Ashe.
Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. Oh. And so, as brother has stated, this is our opening ceremony. This is where we give thought and rise to resistance. We honor those who have resisted. We take that spirit of resistance into today.
We begin August 1st as one of the first flea days, where we do, if you're able to, do a 24-hour fast. We start various practices such as studying, exercise, training, physical training. We abstain from anything that would be negative, such as alcohol, tobacco, stuff like that. We also go into a daily fast similar to Ramadan, where you fast from sun up to sundown. Emphasis again on studying, recommitting yourself to this movement for Black liberation, for autonomy from this beast. We acknowledge those that are still behind enemy lines and work for their freedom. And we continue this throughout the month of August with the 24-hour fast being what we refer to as flea days, First Liberation Expedition Africa. And those dates are August 1st, August 7th, August 13th, and August 21st. The relationship to the resistance of Africans and Black August, if we look at what has happened historically throughout our forced removal from the continent and brought here, and our ancestors brought here and enslaved, you'll see throughout history that Africans have always resisted in one form or another, either through actual armed resistance. So we point to those dates where that has happened, such as the Nat Turner Rebellion, Denmark Vesey. There are numerous periods in history where we've always resisted any type of oppression, not just within the confines of these concentration camps, but throughout America. Then also outside of America, where we have the Haitian Revolution, the successful Haitian Revolution, to get this beast off their back. So we, throughout history, and all of these events occurred during the month of August, where where Black August, in addition to those inside, get the awareness of resisting. You see now the young people in the streets that are taking up this battle, and it started several months ago. It's going into the month of Black August, and we hope to see some successful changes as a result of them taking up taking that banner up.
Also in our history, just giving thought to not only during the slave revolt, but as we come forward, many of the people who are in these cities, in the northern cities today, are in the cities because of resistance in the South, because of resisting being lynched, sitting there on their porch with that shotgun because of white oppressors attacking us in the South. So that led to an exodus of people from the South to the northern cities, where it was a different type of oppression, but the overt lynching and beatings and killings were to be dealt with, avoided. in addition to that, even our, the Black Panther Party, all the different Black movements that came out of the 60s is a direct result of us resisting oppression and tyranny. And within the colleges, the Black student unions that were formed were forms of resistance. So there are many instances of us as a people resisting this oppressive society that we have been brought into, as you say, from the continent of Africa. And throughout the diaspora, there's many, many revolts and revolutions that we can attest to.
Right.
So on the spirit of those resistance, we said Black August stands on the shoulders of the spirit of those resistance. If it wasn't for those resistance, then Brother George and all the others who were involved, pull from that to be able to stand up and resist in prison.
If we're cornered, don't let us die like dogs, but die by holding our heads up, resisting, fighting back at every step of the way. I would say to the late Roland Freeman, I said, Roland, you a soldier. You a soldier because of the birth in battle that you faced on December 8th, 1969, when you resisted. So you are a soldier as much as anybody that I have ever met in Vietnam. You a soldier. All of those who have resisted are an example of our soldiers. Being in an army does not mean that you have to have, quote, a uniform on. Some of the most successful, quote, armies have had no uniform. They wore pajamas, as in the VC in Vietnam. They resisted, they resisted, they resisted. Resistance has been a part of being enslaved. You work slow. Resistance consisted of maybe crippling masses prize bull. Resisting consisted of burning down the barn. If you burnt your barn in September, that was a serious move. And that's what we did. Resisting was absconding, what the white folks refer to it as absconding from the plantation. Resistance. When we hear of slavery, we oftentimes think of that we just worked and worked. Okay, but at the same time, there was what was known as, we would call laying out. In other words, you would just leave. You wouldn't be seen for 6 months and then come back. Quoting from Runaway Slaves by John Hope Franklin, points out that there were whole regions where Black folks had left the plantation and would be gone for months, in some cases years. That was a form of resistance. As I said a moment ago, working slow was a form of resistance. Dragging your feet was a form of resistance. Saying, Master, I'm sick, was a form of resistance. Whatever level that we had to resist, that's what we resorted to. And please do not depreciate that form of resistance. It is just as important as armed conflict. It was a form of armed conflict. Now, here in this year, 54 KE 2020, we've seen the streets light up. We've seen a new generation take up the banner take up the cause. What does the song say? Gotta lift up the bloodstained banner. Gotta lift it up and hold it up until we die. That's true. That's what that song was talking about.
That old spiritual.
That old spiritual. It was talking about us resisting. That's what we're doing. We're building for a new future, a new day. That's what we're doing. And we're not trying, we are doing. Even if it's a 1-inch step, we're doing. And just keep that in mind every step of the way. Our ancestors rejoice in what we do today. And I meant that to rhyme this time.
Right.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Brother Akile. We want to mention that during this month also, we take the time to reach out to political prisoners through our letter writing campaign. And in our program this afternoon, our opening program, we will speak more on how to send those letters and the specific format that should be used. That's a very important thing to reach out. So during this month, not only do we want to fast, we want to study, but we want to reach out and support those political prisoners who are still incarcerated. We want to give a specific emphasis to Rochelle McGee in reaching out to try to get his release. As they say, "A luta continua," the struggle continues. All power to the people.
All power to the people. Ashe.
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 Ashe. Ashe. Oh.